Hello, hello, hello. Hey, family, come on in. Come on in. Hey, hey, hey. Guys, we are live in the Leader to Leader chat for today. I'm excited about what we are going to be discussing because it is money, money, money. While you come on in, invite somebody to be a part of this conversation, to be on this live. If you know somebody got their stimulus, if you know somebody just lost their job or are looking for new ways to see their finances in this pandemic, I want you to invite them to be a part of this conversation. We are live. We are ready to go. As you guys come on, don't forget to like, invite, and share in the comments below. I need you to tell me where you're streaming from, where you're live at. Yes, I see you guys coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of this on today. I'm excited because I know that this is about to be something really, really good that we all can use in our life. I was sitting here and I was thinking about what this meant for today and to all of the people who are watching in this particular climate, all of the good things that can happen that we expected for 2020. And it just seems like this pandemic has just come in and derailed those financial plans. But I've got somebody that's coming on today that's going to help us get our finances back on track. So we're going to be talking about money, 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 money. Okay, so we're going to be talking about money. I was sitting here and I thought about it and I said, this is the song for today. And I said, yeah, this is what it is right here. It's Friday and somebody got their paycheck today. Somebody got their money. Somebody got their stimulus. Somebody's getting their hookup. And so we need to know what we're doing with our money. And so I'm glad that you came on today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Pastor Chanel Ramsey, and I am your host of the Leader to Leader chat. I'm also the CEO and founder of Power Up Urban Leadership Network, where we exist to be a catalyst and conduit of empowerment for urban ministry leaders. I'm also the CEO of Coach Me Ramsey Elite Coaching and Consultation Business, where we are here to help leaders pursue excellence in their events as well as in their leadership and their churches or organizations. So I've got some good stuff for you. I'm bringing on some people that's going to help us get a new perspective in this pandemic. So it's Friday. We're talking about money. I want you guys to get ready. As you guys come in, don't forget to like, invite, and share. Tag someone in this below. I feel like giving away some free money today. I feel like blessing somebody today. So y'all need to come on so we can be a blessing to you. I feel like we are going to give because we're talking about the power of the seed, okay? We're talking about the power of your finances to turn your life around, okay? So you don't want to miss out. Everybody grab a pen, grab paper, and let's get ready to rock and roll at the Leader to Leader Facebook show. All right, we're back and I'm excited. We've been talking about so many different things as it pertains to this pandemic. To those of you who are going through hurt, you're going through a loss, you're going through a season where it seems like it's a setback, I want you to get ready for this conversation because we're going to help you to see that it wasn't a setback, but it's a setup for a greater season in your life. What you do in these months, what you do in this season is going to determine what you experience when you come out. And so many times we forget, we get overwhelmed by what's happening to us, that we forget that one day this will be over. This has come to pass. And after all of this is over, are we going to be on my 600-pound life, right? Because we sit down, we ate all day, or are we going to be broke? Are we going to be somewhere crying? Are we going to be somewhere homeless? Where are we going to be? Where do we want to be when this is over? And how can we make the decisions today to get us to the tomorrow that we desire? And so I want us to take some time to really begin to think about that as we go forward in our finances. Now, many of you are like me. before this pandemic hit, I was on a roll. I had my savings going. I had my checking account. I'm on this roll. I know I'm doing 10% here. I'm doing 20% here. I'm building. I'm going. And then this hit, and it just seemed like it derailed us. But you cannot allow this pandemic to paralyze you. You might have to go on pause in certain areas, but you don't need it to paralyze you. And so some of you lost finances, you've lost your job, you've lost some type of income or opportunity. I want you to know that our God is a restorer, that you will get back double for your trouble. You just got to hang in there. We're going to drop some keys on you today. We're going to give you some nuggets that's going to help you, that no matter the loss you've experienced, our God is a restorer. He is a sustainer, and he's the master strategist to help us to get out of the binds that we find ourselves into now. And let's talk about it for real. Y'all already know you looking out for that stimulus check. Hello, somebody. You come on in here in the comments. You need to write, yes, I'm looking for the stimulus. Yeah, that's me. That's me. That's me. You need to type, that's me. If you're looking for that check, you checking your account, you looking in the mail, you on that number, that 800 number, because you are looking for that money. I want to know what you're going to do with it. You waiting for it, but what you going to do with it? Okay. What should you be doing with that money? We're going to talk about that. And the only person that I know that could break this thing down with such grace and poise, and just, he's full wealth of information, a wealth of resources. And I tell you no lie, this man of God has a revelation of finances that I have rarely heard around the world. And so I'm going to bring him on, none other than who I call Pastor Fred. He's here.
Hey,
Pastor
how are
Fred,
you?
welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump into some questions that help our viewers today get a new perspective on their finances during this pandemic.
Well, again, thank you so much for inviting me to be here. My name is Frederick Towns. I am an accountant, and I'm also a finance coach as well. We work with individuals in terms of obviously taxation, accounting, and consulting. Also work with businesses and nonprofit organizations as well. The key strategy here is for individuals is to create budgets, build wealth, and to so they can sustain themselves through their golden years, or what some people call their retirement years. And what we do with organizations is we help put them in the best financial situation as possible.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And he's the real deal. What he's telling you is true. I've been to his office. There's a real office. It exists. No, you got to say that, because we have some people, when it comes to their money, they need to make sure everything's legit and above the table. I've
Right.
been to his office. We have worked, even we've stood outside my house and talked. We talk money every time we see each other. We've been on panel discussions and at events together. He is the real deal. What he says he does, he does. And not only does he do it, but he does it well. So I'm personally giving him a power up endorsement. This guy is the real deal. And so one of the things I wanted him to come on here and talk about is because a lot of people right now are out of work. We're out
Right.
of work, and some
Right.
applying for employment, unemployment, getting denied, still waiting for it, or they're getting it, but that's only a percentage of what they're used to living off of. So what we gonna do? We dabble in our savings, right?
Right.
We
Right.
dabble in our savings, and everybody didn't have the right savings plan. So tell us what the correct savings plan should be, right? How much we should be saving a month, or whatever that budget looks like for savings. And then tell us what we should be doing now that we're starting to pull from our savings. What are some of the things we need to have in our mind as we're doing this?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Everyone should have some money. One of the old sayings was that you want to save for a rainy day. That advice was good for probably our grandparents and our great grandparents. And then as the age moved on, you had to do more than save for a rainy day. You had to save for a rainy day and also save to invest. Because our grandparents and our great grandparents, they were getting double digit interest. We don't see double digit interest on in our favor. If we see double digit interest in cards that we pay back, right? That's the only place we see double digit interest. So our great grandparents and our grandparents, their money grew a lot faster than ours, and than ours did when it was resting just in a bank account, in a savings account. So you have to save for a rainy day And in addition to that, you have to save to invest so your money can grow. Um, but in terms of how we should be thinking, many people are being affected by this pandemic. There are people that are being affected because they have lost loved ones, or loved ones that are in the hospital, or loved ones that are kind of quarantining themselves because they've possibly been infected. Um,
Hmm.
you have to, if you're in the state of New York, like city of New York, like we are, you can't really go outside without a mask on your face. That's impacting people. Many people have to stay inside. But here's the thing that here's what I consider, and I think that everyone should consider this as well, is that when you spend money or when you get money, you have to think along these lines. Two things. One, what if this lasts until this time next year?
Mm.
It's April 2020. What happens if what Dr. Fauci is saying is going to take at least 16 to 18 months to get a vaccine to treat this thing, right? What happens if we're all inside until April of next year? Or what happens if the governors, as the president today has stated, it's going to be on the governors to restart their own economies? What if the governors, in an unwise move, begin to restart each state's economy a little early, and there's another outbreak, and we still put out again until April of 2021? What do you do? The second school of thought is this: is that you have to understand. For those of us that work for large companies, you're gonna have to understand the corporate mindset, from a CEO level, from a 5,000, excuse me, a 50,000 foot view, and that's this. Right now, because some of this was new, and a lot of companies don't telecommute. Right, a lot of them did not telecommute until this pandemic. What's going to start happening at some point, at least this is my prediction, because this is the corporate mindset. Once the large corporations that are getting now understanding how this remote work works, and how
Yeah.
they can be effective and efficient, even people that are currently working now, many of them, if this lasts for a year, for 12 more months, many of them in 6 to 8 months will probably lose their jobs, because the mindset of corporate America is to strengthen the bottom line, right? You can only strengthen the bottom line by doing one of three things. You either introduce a new product to the market to sell, you increase the prices of the current services or products you have, you increase
Mm.
them to the market to sell, or you begin to cut people, right? Your expenses,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So, or the other thing is you do a combination of the three. So based on how long this pandemic lasts, someone might be sitting at home and say, I'm good because I'm working, but that's not guaranteed if this thing lasts for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah. I love that because I think that's really the lines that we need to start thinking about every time we go to remove money from our savings.
That's right.
If this goes longer than expected, how will I survive it if I keep taking from my savings? So we
That's
need
right.
to start thinking about multiple streams of income and start considering some other options
That is
as
correct.
we're in this pandemic. And one thing I realize about crisis is that it has the ability to push out ingenuity. It has the ability to push out innovation. It has the ability to birth out entrepreneurs. So you never know that even now during this time, you could begin to come up with ideas or things that you can do to begin to create wealth, right? To create that missing income that you need in your life. And so that's a great perspective. So talk to us about the detriments of pulling on our savings or what our savings should have been prior to this. Because what I realized, we were talking about trauma. We were talking about trauma this week. Yesterday I had on Earl O'Brien, and he was telling us about trauma and how it affected us. And one thing he said is the trauma that we are seeing now that has been caused by this pandemic is layered because it is past trauma that we didn't deal with
Mm.
now coupled with this new trauma because of the situation that we're in now. And I feel like some of our financial situations is not because of this pandemic, but
Right.
it's past things that we did with our finances before that's now creeping in because we didn't save properly. Now we don't have what we need to be able to survive this time. So talk to us about how we should have been saving. So because this is just wisdom moving forward, because outside of this, when this is over, what we need to know how to live moving forward so we're not caught in this position again.
Right. So if we're talking now about how we move forward, well, most of us have been in some level of shelter in, I believe, or shelter in place, I believe, what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us have been
Yep.
in that for about 5 weeks now. So here's the thing that we should probably be thinking about. What was important 5 weeks ago that you no longer need? What
Mm.
whatever that is, whatever those things are, you have to keep that same energy once this is over, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
think about where your money was being spent 5 weeks ago, and the thing that you absolutely needed a month ago, and the thing you absolutely wanted at the beginning of the year. How important are
Mm.
those things right now, right?
Oh, that's
Because
good.
because now when there were options at the beginning of the year, there were options. There were places that your that trauma that you're speaking about, that past trauma you're speaking about, there were places that we could go to satisfy and to cover and to console that past trauma that you spoke about.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we're here, and most of us, if you're not essential, most of us are confined to our homes or at least confined to our neighborhoods, right? What is it now that is that important? If you make a list of things that you desired, that you needed, that you said these are must haves, if you had a list of those things from January to the beginning of March, my
Right.
question is, what on that list do you take off? And whatever it is that you could take off because it doesn't seem necessary now, then once this is over, keep that same energy.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I hope you guys are writing that down. That's really, really good because I know some people have cut cable. They cut off certain things, all these extra things. They're like, hey, look, I can't worry about that right now. We
Right,
need to focus on this. And things again. Sometimes we spend because of stress.
right.
That's what you said. Start looking at what is important. Sometimes when people are going through emotional times, they become emotional spenders.
Right.
And so,
Right. And believe it or not, most people that are having difficulty now, they're having, as you said earlier, they're having difficulty because they gave into that trauma earlier. So now
yeah,
you created a bill because of trauma
yeah.
earlier, and now that bill has come due. And here's something that you got to watch out for, right? Everyone needs to watch out for. The vendors are telling most people, hey, we'll cut you a deal so you don't have to
Mm,
pay us right now, right? But here's the key. They're not telling you that we'll put this payment on the back end of your loan or we'll forgive the payment. No, no, no. They're saying we're suspending the payment in some cases for 90 days, which means
mm.
on day 91 or somewhere thereafter, everything that they put a halt to is going to come due. So
Wow.
there are people that are saying, hey, the lender or the vendor said, hey, I don't have to pay for 90 days. The governor said that I don't have to pay this for 90 days. Well, the mistake in that is that these people are giving a product and or a service because they are looking to make money. So at some point they're going to ask for all of their money that they have kind of suspended. And unfortunately, some people are making a worse financial situation for themselves in the pandemic, right? Right.
Mm,
That's the issue. Sometimes the wisdom is not encountering or not, excuse me, not giving in to the enticement of not paying in 90 days. That's the wisdom,
mm.
right?
Wow.
Now, if you can pay it, obviously I'm saying you can't, you should. If you can't pay it, then you need to talk to your vendors now. Don't wait. Talk to them now and say, listen, this is what's going on. If it's I lost my job, or if it's my workload is greatly reduced, so I'm not making the same money, right? You better talk to them now because every people are sympathetic now because we're experiencing the pandemic. We saw this during 9/11. At 9/11, from 9/11 to about 9/16, everybody was sympathetic. 9/17, everybody wanted their money. It'll be the same thing
That's
this time.
wisdom.
Yeah.
That is wisdom. All right. So we've been talking about money. Those of you who are on, please like, invite, and share. Drop your information below as you guys come on. Say hello. Let me know who's here. I see Shaniqua. I see Kerwin. I see Tina. Guys, thank you so much for being on the live today. We're talking about money. It's Friday. It's time for us to have this conversation. So here's the thing. Everybody wants to get excited about their stimulus check. So let's talk about stimulus, okay? Let's talk about what should the average person that is in America
Right.
experiencing this pandemic, what should we be thinking about, or what should we be doing with our stimulus, right? Like, what should be our priority focus when it comes to how we spend this money or what we use this money for? So now y'all need to get out a pen and paper. Though some people got this stimulus already, and they're making Amazon $1 trillion business, okay? Because they're buying any and everything. It's like you buying clothes, you ain't got nowhere to go. You can't go nowhere. You
Right.
can't go
Right.
nowhere.
Right.
You're gonna dress up and walk around the house because there is a stay-at-home order. So let's talk about the wisdom. What should we be doing with our stimulus?
Let's focus on the basic needs. Basic need is
Mm,
shelter, food. You probably already have raiment, which is clothing, right? Um, I don't know how it is around the rest of the country, but here grocery prices have skyrocketed, skyrocketed. What you would spend, what you would get for $100 um, 2 months ago, less than 60 days ago, or let's say 90 days
mm,
ago, right? That same cart that cost you $100 90 days ago in the same
mm,
supermarket in most cases, that cart, if you try to get everything in that cart today, will run you about $150 to $160. So in some
mm.
cases, there's a 40 to 60% increase on
Wow.
basic necessities, right? So your stimulus check is it should, at least in my opinion, I never try to tell people how to spend their money, but your stimulus check should first address the basic needs and necessities, food and shelter. If you got a mortgage or you pay rent, it should handle those things. You have power cost, gas cost, because here and up in the northeast, it is still pretty cool at night. As a matter of fact, we're expecting a little snow tomorrow, so
Wow.
you're still running your heat, right? So you gotta factor those things in. Amazon and those companies, they're going to, because everybody's home. People are scrolling social media, their commercials. Amazon is going to continue to sell you and advertise because that's what they do. They're not the enemy. They're in business. They're going to promote. If you Google something, trust me, you're going to continue to see advertisements, right, for those things. I mean, I read an article the other day stating that because people are sheltered in place, the cost of exercise equipment has increased in some cases by 20 and 30% because people
Wow.
can't get out to their gyms anymore. People, this is not a game. The retailers know the situation, and they're not afraid to take advantage of the situation. So there is something in economics called the demand. A price rises when the demand rises, right? So if there's a
Yeah.
demand for something, the price is automatically going to rise for it, for that particular item. So you got to think in your head, hey, this 1,200, 2,400. If you have children, whatever the dollar amount is that you're getting, and or if there's a tax refund coming as well, you got to think in your head, hey, what happens if this lasts until April of 2021? Now,
Yeah.
I will say this. Now, what's not been talked about much in our communities is this, and I'm almost afraid to bring it up now, but there is in the provisions for this pandemic, there is something that allows you, if you have a 401k or 403b or IRA, that you can borrow up to $100,000 tax free. right? From that. Now, here's the trick. It's a loan, so it must be paid back. There's a time period in which you have to pay it back. So, um, if you are a savvy with money, I would say something like that. You want to speak to your financial advisor about. But if it's just if you don't have a budget, or if you know you're not very skilled when it comes to money, that is something you probably won't want to do, because in the coming weeks, I promise you, YouTube will be filled with people telling you that you're going to be able to borrow $100,000 from your retirement. They are absolutely correct. That is a law now. But what they're not going to tell you is that you do have to pay it back. And if you don't pay it back within the parameters of what the government has laid out, it's going to be considered taxable income. Plus, it's $100,000 of your money. Unless there's a dire
Right.
need, there's no need to touch your retirement like that. No need.
Wow, that's so good. You guys hear what he is saying today? This is so much great wisdom and instruction. If you want more information on how to get in touch with Pastor Fred Towles, you need to contact the Towles Group. The information is below on your screen. Write his number down, write his website down. I'm telling you, he does everything. Every financial question I could come up with, I call him for it. Every time I think I'm going to lose my mind with my finances, I call him, and he is there. He is definitely a financial coach and so much more. So I need you guys to call him. This is a great time for you to do that, to start navigating your way through this crisis financially. Right? We talk about it spiritually, we talk about it socially, we talk about it emotionally. Now it's time to talk about it financially. So this is my last question, and we're gonna wrap things up here. Make sure you get his number. His information is on the screen. We start talking about people who lost their jobs,
Right.
people who lost income. This is a devastating time for a lot of families. Okay. And so what is something that what we can say to these families or these persons that are experiencing that loss? Like, what's the wisdom for what they should be doing now? What are their next steps to getting through this season without panic? Right? Because
Right.
panic make you make foolish decisions, like taking out $100,000 from your life
Right.
insurance,
That is correct.
the retirement plan, right?
Right.
So, panic makes you make foolish choices. But when we start talking about navigating through, what are some of the things that people in that predicament need to be thinking? How can we encourage them through this season?
Here's the thing you want to think about. Our last financial crisis was the housing crisis back in 2006, 2007, 2008, right around there. Um, Interesting enough, there were some companies that did not exist before that housing crisis that currently exist. Three in
Mm,
particular come to mind. One is Uber. Uber didn't exist before the housing market, that housing crisis. They came about. They came on board after. Lyft did not exist, and neither did Airbnb. None of those companies existed. They may have existed on paper in somebody's planning in someone's mind, but they didn't launch until after the financial crisis. Now, here's what I'm saying: is some people before this crisis begged and pleaded with God to say, if I have the time to do this, this is once I get the time to do this, this is what I'm going to do. Well, some of those same
mm.
people are sitting at home right now with maybe some extra time on their hands, right? I'm not calling anybody lazy or slothful or anything like that. This is the answer to many people's prayers, right? Because they
Mm.
asked for this kind of time. They said, some people said, if I could just get away from this job for a moment, I could launch my business. Well, if you're sitting at home and even if you're telecommuting from home, you're kind of separated from work, right? So what I'm saying is this: in this time, whether you're unemployed or not, this is, I won't say this is the time to start your business because everybody's not a business owner. I wouldn't be foolish enough to say that, but this is the time to examine what's going on financially. What
Yeah.
causes you? What's your financial triggers? What causes you to spend money? Because
Mm.
most people spend money from an emotional place, not from a necessity place. And people that
Mm.
spend money from an emotional place, they usually don't have budgets. They usually can't figure out where their money went, right? They're paid on Friday and the money is gone on Friday, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
because there's some emotional attachment to what they wear, what they drive, how they look, where they go, and they have to spend money in that manner. Here's why I say that. When I look at somebody like Bill Gates, there seems to be no emotional attachment to what he wears. There seems to be no emotional attachment in the case
Facts.
in the case of Warren
Facts.
Buffett. There seems to be no opinion
None.
of what he drives. Right? There's no emotional attachment. Warren Buffett even said like this. He says, "It doesn't really. I don't really care what I drive because all the car is designed to do is get me from point A to point B." Right? So
Yeah.
people have to kind of use this time to say, and here's the thing, because I know you're a pastor and this is a spiritual show, so I can say this, right? This is the time to get unintoxicated with our emotions, right? This is the time to ask God,
Wow.
God, help me to see what is causing me to have financial trouble. Because
Mm.
guess what? It is not the government that is causing people to have financial trouble. It is not the men that is causing people to have financial trouble. It is the decisions that people make that are causing them to
Woo.
have financial trouble. So this is the time
The
to say, you know what?
decisions you are making. Wow.
This is the time to ask God, help me. If I'm going to fix my finances, help me figure out or show me why is it that I need to do what I do with my money? Why is that?
Mm.
And we all need a
That's
level.
good.
We all need a level of that. No matter where we are, we all need a level of that because a lot of this time, this 5 weeks at home, a lot of this is emotional.
Mm.
Because when it comes down to what's necessary, because these 5 weeks we're talking about, maybe the first week, if you're like me, I said, you know what, it's probably going to last a week or two. We'll be at home for a week or two. By week 3, I realized this is going to be longer than a week or two. We're going to be here for a little while, right? And things slowly that were important, that were serious, that I thought were very important, many of those things got really, really, really dim because it was like, well, no, if we're going to be here for a while, then
Yeah.
these things I may not need. These things become less important now.
Yeah.
So this is that
Yeah.
time for introspection and say, hey, God, I know we have this issue, right? I know we have this issue. And for people that go out a lot, here's the thing: those people are saving a lot of money right now. People that go out,
Yes.
they're saving a lot of money right now. Whether they go out
Pastor
to,
Fred, you know I like to eat out. You know I like to eat out.
right,
This is
those
the
people,
and I realized how much I was spending purchasing breakfast and lunch when I was working. Right. So now that I'm at home. I'm like, oh man, you know how much money I saved this month?
right, right, right,
Like you said, starting to examine what have you been spending your money on that you've been doing without since the pandemic. And after this pandemic is over, stay without it. Like continue in that and continue to build up your savings. That's that's
yep,
so good because the emotional purchasing part is powerful. It is powerful because when you are at home, where right now people are dealing with a lot of stress. They're dealing with a lot of triggers. You
right,
know, I was joking around with somebody I was talking to yesterday because I want to do like a couples and quarantine session, right? We'll have like a couple of couples, and I said, Lord, there are going to be some people that don't make it. Their marriage won't make it after this pandemic
that is correct.
because they have to spend so much time with their spouse, and if things haven't been dealt with and it's been swept under the rug, and it's the same thing in our finances. How many things have we been doing? Bad financial habits we've had prior to the crisis
Right.
that now we can't blame it on the crisis. We've been spending poorly before this. And now you get this stimulus and you're going to start spending poorly again if you don't get this wisdom.
It's true. This is
If you don't get this wisdom.
the reset that many of us need to propel our financial future to where it needs to be, where we always thought it would be.
Wow.
This is that moment.
That's powerful. Did y'all get that? This is the reset many of us needed
Yeah.
financially. See that? Now that's how you got to look at it. You got to look at it that way. It can't always be I'm getting this to purchase.
Right.
every seed, and I want you to talk about the power of the seed. I want you to give us that. You break it down in three different ways, I think, and you talk about, knowing what seed is for sowing, what seed is for eating, and then that whole process. But that's powerful because everybody's looking at the stimulus for spending.
Right. Right.
But you're saying this could be the thing that you need to restart your finances
It very well could be. It
Wow.
very well could be.
Wow. Again, that's a perspective in the pandemic, right? Let's get a new perspective on our money and see what resonates with you in your financial situation. Everybody's financial situation is different. That's why you call someone like Pastor Fred. His number is on the screen. His website is on the screen. You call somebody like him to discuss it so you can get a tailor-made plan for your financial future. This stimulus could be the reset you've been believing for. It could be the thing that you need to get you ready for what's going to happen after all of this is over. That's so good. All right. So I want to close with this. I see some new people have come on. Hi, guys. As you guys come in, I see Deo came on. Sonia came on. Jonathan. Mr. Drummond himself is on. You guys are here in the building. You are, well, in your building on my live. But I want you guys to take some time to say hello in the comment section. Like, invite, and share. Hey, Natasha is on. This is good information. Like it, invite somebody, tag somebody in this that you know could benefit from this information. Somebody, if you love them, you share the good stuff, right? When you love somebody, you save them a cookie. That's because you love them. So I want you, if you love somebody, tag them in this. Let's get our whole situation together. Because you know what? Even I started thinking about senior citizens that are getting stimulus, and maybe they missed out on the opportunity to start building for their retirement. Not everybody was in that mind frame. This could be your reset. This could help jumpstart that process. But I want to talk about this because I've been on a series.
Okay.
I've been on a series about how to reach and pastor a digital church. Okay. This is what we've been talking about, how to reach and pastor a digital church, because many people, you can't go to the brick and mortar building anymore. So we got to start focusing on how we reaching people online and how we pastoring people through this online internet, right? It's internet because it's a net. It's what we use to catch fish. It's what we use to attract. And so I wanted us to talk about that because here's the thing that comes with our finances. There has been an extreme fear for many people. Hey, Sean is on, Vaughn is on, Donna is on. Hey, guys, there's been a fear of sowing. Right? Some people that's like, oh, I don't know if I should pay my tithes and my offering because, we're in this pandemic. I lost my job, or I don't have this anymore, or I don't know what's next. I'm collecting this, but I don't know what's going to happen. And it's this fear of not giving. Right? I don't want to give. But then the Bible tells us that the one who holds on to it is the one who loses it.
That's correct.
But the one who gives it is the one who receives. So can you kind of talk to us about the power of the seed and the dynamics of making, multiplying? And you got a whole there's a try series that you talk about that you break it down. I'm gonna find the right word for it. But tell us about that and encourage people, because I don't want to see us miss out on the harvest because we're afraid to invest. We're afraid to give offerings. We're afraid to give charitably, right? Donations. There are still people in need. And that didn't stop. There's still the hungry that need to be fed. That didn't stop. And not everyone is struggling. Okay. Not everyone is struggling. So just kind of encourage us, help us to understand that.
Well, here's the thing. The Bible opens up with a story in Genesis chapter 1, talks about God creating a garden, right? Many people look at this story as the story of creation. I look at it as a wealth plan. Here's what God does. God creates this garden. He plants trees in this garden. These trees have fruit on them. How do we know that? Because when Adam is formed, right? God told them that you could have the fruit off of every tree except for these two trees, right? Well, that means we got to look at the fruit because the garden was already there, right? So here's the power of the seed. if you take an apple or you take an orange or a pear or any fruit like that, those those pieces of fruit all have seeds in them. So here's what God does. He allows us to enjoy the fruit, take the substance from the fruit, and utilize the seed because he told Adam to tend to the garden, right? So he can
Mm.
now utilize those seeds to plant what? More trees. Here's the thing. The seeds from one piece of fruit can produce a tree that has multiple pieces of fruit on it. That's a wealth plant. So
Mm.
building wealth is not very hard. It's a very simple thing, but it's the simple stuff that confounds the people that are wise, right? That's what the Bible says, right? That God uses
Mm-hmm.
simple things to confound the wise. So here's the idea of the wealth plan is, hey, we get seeds. Our seed is the money we make from our jobs, the monies we make from business. If we're unemployed, then our seed becomes the unemployment compensation. What
Uh-huh.
else?
That stimulus that's coming through. Uh-huh.
Stimulus check that's coming to you. All of that is seed. Now, what happens is many times because we've made emotional decisions in the past, we forfeit our seed because now have to pay credit cards. Now we have to pay car payments. Now we have to pay all of these things, right? Sometimes things that are above our budget just to make everything seem like we're blessed. And in fact, the
Mm.
blessing is that we have the seed, and in the seed, it has the power to create a tree. That's the blessing. The blessing is not the fruit, the blessing is the seed that has the power to create a tree that's going to give me more fruit. And most importantly, once that tree is formed and I get more fruit, guess what I can do? I can plant another tree. So if I put the seeds in the right environment, given the right nutrients over a good period of time, because here's the thing, nobody builds wealth instantaneously. Wealth is built over time, right?
Yeah.
Wealth is built over. That's the key. Wealth is built over time, just like a tree. When you plant the seeds, the tree doesn't spring up overnight, but if it's tended to over
Wow.
time, the tree develops. And when it develops in the right environment, like for instance, I
Woo.
can't plant a banana tree in New York because New York is not the right environment for a banana tree. But if I take those same seeds and go down to Florida and plant a tree, Florida gives the right amount of heat and has the right nutrients for a banana tree, not just to grow, but here's the most important thing, for it to be sustained. Because you can get
Mm.
anything to grow, but can it be sustained is the key. Anything will grow, right? I'm from New York. We have roots that grow up through the concrete, right? So anything can grow in certain environments. Anything can grow. The idea is, can it be sustained? And if it can't be sustained, then it was probably never worth growing in the first place.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the idea of the seed. The seed that we have, we either have one or two things to do. We either have the ability to forfeit it and give it away, or we have the ability to plant it in the right place so it can and keep it there so that over time it'll grow, it'll be sustained, right? And it'll produce more fruit. And then we take that piece of fruit or one of the pieces of fruit and we do the same thing. It's like the Kung Fu Kid, the Karate Kid. Wash on, wash off. Repeat. Take the fruit, enjoy the sustenance, take the seeds, plant the seeds, and do it again, and do it again, and do it. That's how the Carnegies did it.
Wow.
They
Wow.
the original Carnegie family had the toughest job because they were the ones that had to plant the first tree.
Mm.
4 to 5 generations with the Carnegies that are alive now, all they have to do, they don't have to worry about is the tree going to grow because great great grandfather, great 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 granddaddy planted a tree a long time ago, and he told his son how to do the same thing. So this second son knows that those trees are going to grow. And then he told his son that, hey, if you do this, this will grow. Now, 5 generations forward, they know how to do what? They know how to plant trees. And they don't have to worry about sacrificing seed because guess what? they have other trees in their backyard that they can get fruit from. All they got to do is
Hmm.
keep planting. That's generational wealth. At generation after generation after generation. What we do sometimes is we forfeit our seed. Our seed goes to cover our expenses, the expenses that we use to treat our trauma. Trauma is
Mm.
treated by a technician, a clinician, not by a bag or a vehicle or a neighborhood.
Woo!
If we're being honest,
I, this is so much. Do y'all hear this? Pastor Tawana, welcome. Stephen, welcome. Oh my God. Carla, hey. Do y'all hear this? Karen, do you hear this? I look at my page. I'm full of I know I'm like, I'm literally like shaking the whole camera because I'm trying to write as fast as you talk.
that's funny. I got it.
This thing is so good. Did y'all? I feel the anointing of God on this thing. This thing is so good. You said we forfeit the seed by making poor decisions. So here it is. You got seed, but you can't even plant it because you got this credit card bill. You got all these other things that you did in the past that now you can't even plant the seed. You said you got to plant it in the right environment. That was good. He says it can grow, but can it be sustained?
Right.
Woo! My
Anything can
God,
grow.
my God.
Anything can grow
My God,
anywhere.
my God. And this is so it's so good. I love what you said and how you ended it because we're talking about the wealth plan, right? We're talking about the wealth plan. So we're continuing with that idea that I'm not taking this stimulus just so I can be grand and I could buy a whole bunch of stuff. Now I could buy that TV I wanted, that 65-inch screen. Come on, we got a list stuff that we've been waiting to buy. Instead of doing all of that and looking like we're blessed,
Right.
we have now the job to be the one to plant the first tree.
Right. Plant the first tree for your family, and then
So that
show the
your
person behind you.
family,
There you go. Plant the first tree.
wow,
And if you're married, here's
don't,
the thing. And if you're married, don't plant the tree and show someone how to pick the seeds up. You have to
mm,
both come in joint agreement to plant the tree and let it grow. And it might take a lifetime for it to grow, but whoever's coming behind you might benefit from it. They just
yeah,
might. Listen, the same thing with in terms of you talked about the church as well. And I didn't realize this. I was sitting down the other day, and I had there was an ebook that I written about freshening up the financial landscape of your church. I
mm,
looked at it, and I didn't realize how quote unquote prophetic that book actually was because it talked about it, or should I say, it prepared churches to go through times just like this so they could sustain themselves and not have
wow.
to beat people in the head.
So give us the name of that book again. Give us the name of that book.
The ebook is called Freshen Up Your Church's Financial Landscape. Right?
And they can find that on your website.
They can find that on my website and on Amazon as well.
Listen, pastors and leaders, get that book. Get that book now. Get it now. Okay. I'm going to put his website back up. And it's on Amazon. So you ain't got to worry about that. Go to Amazon. Y'all been on Amazon anyway. Go on to Amazon. You've been on Amazon all day. Go on to Amazon and get that book. Hey, Wilma is on. Darlene is on. Nadine is on. Y'all, this is so good. This is so good. And I'm sorry, we're gonna wrap it up here because he done talk to us about not treating our trauma. He done talk to us about not treating our trauma with spending, with poor decisions, with bad habits, financial habits. This is so good. This is I mean extremely good information. You got to get it. You have to book him. You have to book him for your financial team at your church. Hello, y'all need to talk
Correct.
about the church finances and get a strategy
Correct.
on how you're going to be sustained during this season.
Correct. It's not too late because
It's not too late.
if this season lasts another 12 months, it won't be too late. And
It's not too late.
unfortunately, the churches that don't adapt, they won't be around when this is over. They
That's
won't be.
right. You either shift or you die.
Right.
You
They won't
either
be around.
shift or you die. That's what we are. So this is good. Some people's asking for the name of the book, and the name of the book again is Freshen Up the Landscape of Your. Oh, he's
Freshen.
gonna put it.
I'm gonna type it in here. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. You guys have to go back and watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, hello, welcome. We love you. We're so glad you was on this live. If you just came on, you need to go back to the beginning and you need to listen to this from the beginning. When I tell you it's tons and tons of wisdom, instruction, strategy, and knowledge for you to walk into your next season strong. It's what you need to know now so you can have a better later. And Pastor Fred is pouring out. He's giving great, amazing information. I have a page full of notes, okay? A page full of notes because that's all I've been doing is writing. I've just been writing because I'm like, okay, I need to absorb all of this. You are 90% more likely to do something you write down than when you just hear it. So
Right.
you need to write. You need to get these notes. You need to take notes. This is so good. And right, it's I'm putting it in the chat. I'm putting it in the comments for everybody. This is the name of the book. It's on Amazon. If you can't see it, hi. I see some more people came in. Willie Graves, Rashida. Hey, hey, hey. I'm gonna put it in so you guys can have this. All right. If you're on YouTube and you're watching this, you just saw the name of the book pop up. It's called Freshen Up the Financial Landscape of Your Church. So those of you, again, pastors and leaders, you need to go on Amazon, go on his website, get this book. All right, from Pastor Fred. This is it. This is it. This is what you need to do. Make sure you do that. It's going to be awesome. I'm so happy to have you on today, Pastor Fred. It has been such an amazing time. We really dove into it. If you want to know more about all of this information, it's on the screen, how to contact him. And then there are many of you who are in this particular season and you might have a business idea. You might have a way to create income. You might have an idea that you want to explore. How can I actually get this out? How can I actually get this out? I want you to contact me so we can book a strategy session so we can begin to talk about how do you go from vision to reality? How do you go from idea and concept to an actual business or a stream of income? You know, it doesn't have to be something that you do all the time. It may just be for this season, but you need a strategy. Many people start out with what they want to do and why they want to do it, but they don't always know the how. And so I'm here as your coach to help you through that process. Book your strategy session today. You go to powerupnetwork.org/coach-Ramsey, okay? And if you were blessed today and you want to be a blessing, you have a seed to sow to keep us moving forward. We want to take our production to the next level. We want our videos to be better. We want our content. We want to invite more speakers on. You can sow at through Cash App at Chanel Ramsey. That's 2 A's in the word Ramsey. So you can do that there. It's on your screen. This has been a phenomenal time.
That it has.
This has been a phenomenal time. I wish we had more time. Somebody's asking you to explain the book called Octagon. I wish we had more time, but we can have Pastor Fred back. Don't worry, we can have him back. We can have him back so he can break it down. And he's what you got going on? Anything coming up? Any webinars or Facebook Lives or anything coming up that we want the audience to know about? Or you just managing all your clients that are coming through the door in this season?
We're managing a lot, especially with the deadline moving to July 15th. Stimulus payments, SBA money, which SBA money apparently has run out for businesses, but we're working. But I would say sometime in July, June or July, we'll be doing something online. I'm
okay. Awesome. If you guys want to know more about him, don't forget to follow him. He is on Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
Yes.
And he's on Instagram. That's right, because millennials and Generation Y, we all still need money management.
Right.
We need to understand what to do with our money. Right. So if you're on Instagram, Facebook, you can follow Pastor Fred Towles. Thank you guys again for being a part of this conversation. If you're just coming on, you want to know more information, you missed us in the beginning, go back to the beginning of this live, get that information. It's going to bless your life. All right, I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday. I might come on during this weekend, but Tuesday I'll be back on and we'll be talking again about a perspective in this pandemic. All right, guys, have a great night.